Hey everyone, you're live on BROfessor Bats and Friends with the pork. Here we go. Hey, it's time to turn off the video, put it on photo.
Emotional, damn it!
I tell you what, that's one thing when and I think of myself as a professional selfie person. And there's so many times where I put my camera out there and I hit the button. Instead of taking a selfie, I hit a video, and that's just emotional damage. That's what
it is. Emotional damage.
Hey, welcome to the show. I hope y'all are having a good week so far. It's Taco Tuesday, and we're celebrating trying to get over the MOORE Expo. MOORE Expo was this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Springfield, Missouri, and we all were there, had an amazing time. And I am glad that you are here because we're going to recap and take it from a few different views, from where we were at and where we were attending and what we were doing while we were there. So I'd like to welcome my co-host, Tony. How are you this week?
I'm good, buddy. I'm a little tired trying to get back to the swing of things, but I'm good.
Yeah. Well, the swing of things, the daily grind, the 9 to 5, I almost felt like, when we used to have vacations when I was a child, and I've done a podcast on this, where my dad, we didn't make a lot of money. My dad was a Baptist preacher, and so when we went out on vacations, he would save and save and save and save and save, and we would take a vacation, and I mean, it was butt crack of dawn, 5 o'clock. We were up, get up, we got places to go, we got things to do. We got this booked, and we got to be here by a certain time. Got to be back, and we'd get back at the hotel that evening, and we'd just be dead. I mean, just tired, and we would have to come home to rest. Yeah. And I feel like that's what I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel wiped out. I feel like I've ran a marathon. I don't know, but I mean, it was daylight till dark, the after parties, all the good stuff, and I got lots to do. I know you got lots to do.
You ain't kidding. I remember thinking last week, with all the work that went into it, I was like, it'd be nice to get back and, and kind of relax a little bit next week and not have a lot to do. But then, when I got home, I was seeing all this stuff in the garage that I didn't get done before I left. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Same here. And I'll tell about my evening of hell on Sunday when we get down to it here in just a minute. But that left me with a lot to do this week. A lot of this gear that you see is so cool that you're like, I gotta have that, and you just sit there and you stare at it. And I stared at this for 2.5 days, thinking, oh man, I can't wait. I just can't wait. And then when it finally came down to it, I was pulling my hair out. I was gritting my teeth. A lot of people just walked away from me. Misty said that Joe just had to walk away.
Yeah.
Or Connie told me that because I felt like I was getting a little, I was irritated.
A little
I know
frustrated.
my wife could tell that for sure, frustrated. So
yeah.
Anyway, but you, Tony, you're just redesigning your whole rig.
Yeah. So I'm just in the process of there's some things I want to add to the Rhino rack, the bed rack. I want to put a table mount under the tent, so I'm going to design some brackets to do that, and then kind of rechange the layout on the roof rack a little bit where some of the accessories go. Jeremy with Rhino Rack gave me some good ideas. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I know it's not going to be long till it looks completely different than it does now. So everybody that went by the Rhino Rack booth and saw your rig in the show, it's going to look completely different in a few weeks. We have a huge trip coming up 1st of June, and we are now pressed for time as we try to get everything ready for us to go head out west for, depending on who you are, is how long you're going to stay there. Yeah. And so it's going to be an amazing, amazing time. Jared Cook, thank you for coming to the show. Arla says, love the new intro. I worked most of the day on that, and I appreciate that, Arla. We got a lot of new footage. Tony did a great job. I tasked him with going around and getting us some new footage of the people to do the intro to the show, and he did a fantastic job all the way up to when he ran over his GoPro.
Yeah, all the way, all the way to that.
Fortunately, when you run over your GoPro with a overweight Gladiator, it does not crush the microchip that puts in there and stores everything. So,
so if
micro SD card was safe. We have marked ourselves safe from being ran over from the GoPro.
Well, if you just run over it once, it might have been okay, but I couldn't just stop it once. I had to do it twice.
Well, go big or go home.
Go big or go home. That's what happens. Well, we have with us one of our good friends. Tony met him when we were out in West Virginia, and I've known him for several years, and he stayed with us in our Airbnb. Also in the Rhino Rack booth, we have the Pork from West Virginia. Pork, thanks for being with us.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, well, we some of us heard about your trip on the way out there and how that you and Waze got kind of crossways.
Lord, we could have went all day without bringing that up.
Well, you know, if anybody can turn a 700-mile trip into a 1,000-mile trip, you've done it better than anybody I've ever seen.
Yes, Waze got me where I didn't want to be very quickly. I'll give them that.
Yeah. Well, you got to see some cool things.
I did.
Mm-hmm. A lot of bugs. A lot
still
of
some of the bugs on there.
But it also took you to a place where you had never been in St. Louis, and you were real excited to get to see the gateway to the west. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it got me where I wanted to be.
Ultimately, yeah.
Ultimately, 16 and a half hours later, it got me where I needed to be. But I did see a lot of cool stuff on the way out there. Spent years of watching YouTube, hearing about Uranus.
Yeah.
And I actually passed the Uranus
fudge factory,
and had I not been having such a terrible drive, I probably would have gotten off that exit and journeyed back to it. But by that time, I was like, I don't give a crap about anybody's Uranus. I want to get to where I'm going.
Yeah.
So ultimately it took a while, but it's still I took in a lot of views, seen a lot of potential parks and stuff to stay in on the next trip out.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, good. Yeah. Well, Joe wants to know if we're taking any live calls tonight.
Only
and he asked that
because
my good old buddy Joe called into the show right after we had started last week. And he said, well, you should have just put me on. I said, well, you should have been listening to the show and you would have known I was live. But anyway, thank you, Misty, for commenting on that, and tell Joe he can call me anytime. I don't know if I'll answer, but that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. We got a lot of new people in the night. Michael Kubitka just got his new patch in. Michael is trying to get patches in all 50 states. So if you are wanting a pretty cool patch, look up him on Instagram and he'll get you a patch. He's got some cool ones.
What's his handle?
Michael, tell us your Instagram on here. Comment on your Instagram, and we'll have people look you up so they can contact you about getting a patch. Oh, Sasha, it's supposed to be about the journey, not the destination. Waze was trying to help him make it a journey, and it did. So the power of positive thinking, thank you. That's right. Michael Kubitka said it's Little Red Mike. So if you look up little_red_Mike, content about getting a patch from him, and he'll be real excited to get you one. Arla, oh my goodness.
Jokes. Arla has jokes.
I got jokes. Arla's got jokes. Hey girl, hey. Have you ever dried off with a hand towel? So yeah.
But I'm the only one that won the lottery.
Funny story with that. We all stayed in an Airbnb last weekend. Porker came in at a late time, so he didn't actually get his own room. Well, he got his own room. It's called the living room, and had the biggest room out of all, and slept on the couch 2 nights before he realized there was a bed in the couch, and also showered 2 nights before he realized that there was a full-size towel in the closet in there. He dried off with a hand towel. And if you've never seen him, he's not a small man. So I can't imagine how much drip drying was going on during that. It was something. Oh my goodness. Well, if anyone missed MOORE Expo last weekend, I can tell you it was some kind of a treat for us. It was the 3rd year that we have had the MOORE Expo in Springfield, Missouri. The Midwest Overlanding and Off-Road Expo is what MOORE stands for. Always leaving you wanting more.
More.
It's a great name because you can really go a million ways with that. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
But it was my 3rd year to be at the show, and it was my 3rd year to be a vendor at the show. So I've never been a regular person at the show, and I really don't know what it's like to be just a regular person there. Travis says it was his first, and it was great. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, enjoyed listening with Travis.
Kayla Hubbard says, "Good evening, guys. MOORE rocked my socks off." That's awesome. Travis said it was also great meeting me and my awesome wife. Thank you. It was good to meet you as well. We had a great time. This is my 2nd time to work with Aaron in the Artemis booth. And last year I was in the Rhino Rack booth. So I decided to step out of the Rhino Rack booth and help Aaron and let you guys be in the Rhino Rack booth. And I was so excited for you to have this opportunity, because it's one thing to be able to get to go to the show and see the things, but you miss out on seeing a lot of things.
Yeah.
If you're not a vendor, because you get move-in day.
Yeah.
And you get to see the building before there's anyone in it. So Porker and I got there before anybody did. We pulled in and saw. I got there on Wednesday. We helped install Misty's bumper on her 4Runner at Artemis. Yeah. And then Thursday morning we loaded up and we headed to the MOORE Expo, and it was move-in day. Around 9 o'clock, everybody started showing up. So when Porker and I pulled in, everybody was lined up at the front, ready to check in. So Rhino was there, and he was getting everybody that was checking in, all the vendors. And Porker and I walked in the side door, and we walked in there, and there was not one vendor set up in there yet. It was nothing. It was just a big sea of nothing in that west wing. And we were there when the very first rig rolled in. And we saw several roll in, and we actually got to help, which was a treat for me. When Jerry with Timbo Tusk rolled in, I got to meet Jerry. Jerry Leclerc. I was so excited to meet him. And he had come by Artemis on Wednesday afternoon. He had driven for, I don't know how many days he had taken to drive all the way from California to get there. And he said since it was April, it was a good time for him. He wanted to get away. He had a good drive. And it was awesome to meet him. And Porker and I got to help him unload his stuff. And that was a treat for me.
Yeah, it was.
So really cool. Really cool. But after that, everybody started rolling in. And it was just one thing after another. I think y'all had a 10 o'clock move-in time, but it got pushed out because a lot of the big trailers were in there in your way. Yeah. And we had an 11 o'clock. We got to pull in. I put my trailer in there and then pulled out, and I put my vehicle in the storyteller area as Tony had Arla's Jeep out there.
Yeah.
So, it was for me a treat. Now, Tony, how was it for you this year coming in, being a regular attendee last year? How different was it for you on that first day coming in and actually getting to be a vendor?
Well, it was just an amazing experience. I mean, it's a completely different perspective You get to meet more people. You talk about this stuff a lot more, meet more friends, catch up with old friends. But it's just a different, just a different experience. The thing that you don't do is you don't see experience this more, which for me, that would be probably the biggest downside. But I wouldn't trade this experience for anything. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of things that you don't get to see, you don't get to participate in as a vendor, especially if you don't have more people in your booth than what you need. Now, Porker, you were also in the Rhino Rack booth. How was it for you coming in this year? I know, and what I want to know from you was, we had explained to you what this was, and we had shown you pictures and tried to give you the best account of what we could possibly give to you, is to give you a heads up of what you're getting into. How did that compare to what it actually was?
Well, pictures never does anything any justice at all. I had a pretty good idea, but when you get there and witness it from empty to full to the parking lot bleeding over, and, just thousands of people walking, you really start then to get a feel. Well, those pictures was telling the story, but it ain't nothing compared to what you witness being there.
Yeah.
This show was my first, other than like outdoor shows and stuff here local, but to be everything that we're into and so much of it there at one time I was in awe for the longest time, and I got to walk around a little more than Tony did. He stayed a little busier than I did, but my first time I wanted to get out there and see as much as I could.
Yeah.
But the pictures didn't do it any justice at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was, it was the biggest year ever. First year, it was just in the West Wing, and that was all it was. And I remember so many people in there that you not even being able to move. I mean, it was just incredible. And then last year, he opened up the center, and then he opened up the East Wing, so it became the largest indoor overlanding show in the United States at that time. And I remember, okay, everybody is spread out, so it will, it won't be as packed in here. And it was still Saturday and Sunday last year, but with it being in February, with COVID going on, it was one of the few events that actually took place. Everything else was canceled. And so it was just one of those things where, yeah, this is cool, and I need to walk around because he's got twice as many vendors this year as he had last year. And here we are in 2022, and he had to open up so much room outside for vendors because he had ran out of room inside. And it was really cool. But the one problem that we had, moving it to April, we thought, man, the weather's going to be so nice. It's going to be so much better. Having outside vendors is going to be great. Everybody's going to want to hang out there. And we even talked to Chris last week, and he said, everybody's going to want to hang out with the storytellers and be able to hang out outside. And the weather did not cooperate on Friday. It was just unbelievable. The wind, I've noticed that it's always windy in Springfield, but man, it was just unreal. I guess it's because, April is our time for the worst weather. It rains a lot, have a lot of storms. We had tornadoes last night. We're supposed to have them again tonight and tomorrow. And, it was just one of those times where it just picked the day. This is the day. This is the day it's going to be. And it was cold.
Rain. We had rain and sleet.
Rain and sleet. It actually snowed a little bit.
Yeah.
People were camped out back. This is the first time they'd ever had camping there, so people were camped out. Some people's awnings blew away. I mean, the wind was fierce.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were camped at S'more. This is the first time that we had worked really hard. Chris and I had worked really hard about getting everybody out to s'more because of the S'more to More rally sponsored by Midland. My shirt, you can tell, my hat. We're going to talk about Midland here in a minute.
Yeah.
And so it was that first night was just miserable. It was just so much wind. It was almost like camping at the beach during the winter. It was crazy.
Right.
Travis asked, did Chris tell y'all a full attendance number? No, he never mentioned it to us. I don't know if he has in his mind about how many were there or not, or if he can share that with us. Looks like he's on here. He says, we've come a long way from day one. Couldn't have achieved this without such an amazing community. And I believe that his staff was on point this year. Everybody that wore the black and red shirts that said staff on the back, they did an amazing job making sure everybody was taken care of, making sure everybody parked in the right spot, making sure all the doors were guarded, the gates were guarded. Felt very safe. And Chris came around a couple times to the booth and said, do y'all need anything? And I said, no, we're great. We're great, because everything was going great. And to answer your question, he says still crunching numbers. So still trying to come through with that. Van City has joined us from Vancouver, Canada. Appreciate you joining us, man. We're really excited that you're here. Arla says the best show yet.
Yeah.
And
I felt bad for everybody outside on Friday. It was not very fun.
It wasn't, especially for the vendors out there. I know we had talked to Okie Overland, who tried to set up their little tents that they have to cover everything, and Kayla said it was just blowing everything away, and it was just rough. And the people that were wanting to talk to the storytellers, had to find a little nook or cranny here to try to get out of the wind. So it was rough that Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday came around and it was a little bit better. The weather was a little bit better. Everybody seemed to have a much better time on Saturday, and said, we don't mind spending some time outside. So that was pretty cool. It changed from 2 days to 3 days this year to get everybody a chance to see more and do more, which I think is so good.
Yeah.
I think it's so good. We have somebody on here that said that they actually spent 2 whole days walking through. And I think that's what it takes. If you're going to take your time to see everything, it's going to take a two full days to go back, because a lot of times I know as a vendor that a lot of people walk around and look at everything and on one day, and then the next day they come back and they actually shop. Yeah. So it takes 2 days to see everything. And then that gives you another day to do the S'more to More route.
Right.
And so that actually gives you some time. So with it being 2 days, if it was 2 days and you had the S'more to More route, there's a bunch of people that would miss out on a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
So it's just one of those things that you just say, well, that 3 days now is so much better than what we had it the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Friday was rough. The rest of the weekend was great. There's MC Ranch Overland hanging out with my friends. Cheers, Mike and Carolyn.
Hey, Mr. Mike.
MC Ranch Overland, one of our sponsors that have been there with us from the beginning. If you see in the background, we have their original fire reflectors set up. We may not be sitting around a fire right now, but Tony's got his up, standing up behind him, and we have put the background as the original fire reflector. So go to MC Ranch Overland and check that out. I promise you, you will see that this is a great
totally change your campfire experience.
I guarantee you. Travis says Saturday was perfect. We did the S'more to More route that day, and it was so beautiful for the drive. Chris did awesome on the route. That's cool. I'm really glad that somebody's in here that actually was able to do the S'more to More route, because I wasn't able to talk to many people about that because we were talking about products in the booth.
Mm-hmm.
And really didn't get some feedback from people on that, how much they liked it. And, it was a long route, and it was different that you had to go from point to point to point. So it was something like a lot of these people had never experienced. Right. And I think we had heard that they had over 300 people do this.
Yeah. I heard the number was just over 300 entries. So maybe Chris can confirm that, but
Yeah, I heard around 320 something ish, something around in that. So there was a lot of people that really took advantage of this more to more route. And I tell you what, they did a great job putting it together. Midland took that and ran with it and did a phenomenal job. The brochures were really cool. 329 is what Chris said.
Yeah,
329.
that is
That's
awesome.
great. That's great. It's sad we couldn't have one more person to make it 330 to make it easier to say. But next year we're going to shoot for 400. And so it was one of those things that was just extra. You know, you go to an event like this, and a lot of times it's just you go to the event like a boat show or RV show or something like that, and you leave there talking about RVs. Well, an event like this has so much more to do with it because there's so much more. Hence the name more.
Right. More.
And you're able to experience more. So you're not only talking about the gear, you're talking about the storytellers that you're met. You know, I was able to meet some of the people that I love to watch, like Cotty Wample Overland.
I know.
Meeting those guys, and they invited us out to their house. We got to spend some time with them out there, and you realize that these people are exactly who you thought they were. They're just real, ordinary, down to earth,
very genuine,
very genuine,
yeah,
good people. And you know, I want to have them back on the show because we had them on the show when they were doing the SCAR, the South Carolina Adventure Route, and all they had was wind and rain and cold, and they were freezing to death. And we had a bad connection, and Bill told me, he said, "Man, we got to come back on there when we have normal circumstances." I said, "I'd love to have you. Love to have you."
We need to have a do-over on them.
Do-over on them.
We might have to share an Airbnb with them next year. That was so much fun.
Much fun to hang with and talk about. Now, Tony, tell me, what was your main job, I guess, at the event, and what did you have to do there, and what did you spend most of your time doing?
Well, so I had the Gladiator in the Rhino Rack booth, and you know, Aaron and Brian with Rhino Rack sent me some products to install on the Gladiator, and you know, kind of showcase those at the expo. So I got to hang out and talk about my truck and talk about their products, and you know, it just never got old at all. There
was always somebody around your Gladiator.
Yeah,
they were either sitting on the tailgate looking at the rack, or they were inside looking at the gigantic holes you had to drill in your roof.
yeah. That was a tough thing to do. It took, like, I think, what did I say? It took 4 hours to drill the first hole, and then about 30 minutes to drill the other 7. So
I'm not sure I could have done it. Porker makes his living on drilling holes in vehicles, so that doesn't
all day long.
Yeah.
And but somebody like me, that makes me sick in my stomach just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, well, you know, I wanted to do a good job, wanted to do it right, you know, wanted to make sure that their product was properly displayed, you know. So anyway, wow. I'm just really thankful and you know, grateful for that experience. So
yeah, no kidding. American Frontier Overland said More to More Rally was a blast. Broke 2 struts though.
Wow. No.
Goodness, that was that's something.
One strut sounds bad, but 2, oof.
Goodness gracious, that made for a rough ride home, I guess.
I bet.
Yeah, both Tony's and Miss Bat's off-road rigs look awesome. That's because Tony spit shined them right before they came. He keeps his rigs cleaner than anybody I've ever met in my whole life, and so he had them suckers shining, glowing in the dark almost.
Tried to.
Yeah,
it's hard when you drive them, you know, every day, but.
And I tell you another thing that both of you had to deal with, and was that when your vehicles are in the show, you don't have a ride.
Yeah, we were bumming rides every time we turned around.
Yeah, and I know Porker does not like riding in the passenger seat.
Not at all, but I was just thankful I could ride in another Toyota. I'm forever grateful for that, and I didn't have to crawl in a Jeep or something
Yeah.
Something even worse than that.
We'll look for the opportunity to give you a ride in a proper Jeep.
Well, I should have told my wife to bring the Prius, and you would have loved crawling in that.
Lord have mercy. That would have been the icing on the cake.
Oh no, not a Prius.
We could have brought the Prius, and we could have used Waze to get us back and forth to the Airbnb. You would have loved that.
Waze probably comes preloaded in the dash on that one.
Probably.
Well, Porker, what was your main role? What did you do pretty much every day at the expo?
Well, a lot like Tony, but Rhino, Brian, and Aaron, they were predominantly answering the questions about the Rhino Rack products, and occasionally we would be asked questions and we'd answer them. But I spent more time telling people about the other parts of my rig that they were interested in. But I helped AC and Brian out as much as I could. But their primary role was to talk about the products, and we just filled in the best we could when they needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's true. We all had different roles. We all did different things, man. We all enjoyed it in our own individual way. Aaron said so many great people willing to share their knowledge and experience, and that was the way it was for me too. I got to meet Down to Mob and Julie, his girlfriend. That was a treat.
Phil and Julie,
treat for me.
Yeah.
Well, I told a lot of people. Julie and I have been friends for years. I was on night shift, and she was on night shift, and she would send me messages and ask me about something that I'd made for the FJ, and she had an FJ too, and so we would keep each other awake when we were on shift together, and that was fun. We became friends over the years, talked about FJ stuff, and I've had her on the show, and when she met Down to Mob, I thought, man, I'm so glad that she's happy. I'm just so happy for her, because you travel out there alone for so long, and you finally meet somebody that loves the same things that you love and travels just like you do. It seemed like a match made in heaven, and they seem like they're so happy together.
Yeah,
and they do.
Very excited for them.
Another genuine couple there.
Very genuine, so nice. And they were willing to come on and help us do some intros and stuff, and I really appreciate them doing that. But that was just the people. That's what made it for me. That's what made it so fun. There were so many people there that came up and said, love your content, watch your show. I need to get one of your patches. I bought one of your patches. Just different things like that, and it was just nice to meet people that I watch, and it was nice to meet people that watch the show. So it was great all around for us. I know about that. Well, for those of you who don't know, we've been talking about the S'more Rally, and that was sponsored by Midland USA makes radios, GMRS radios, and they actually sponsor the show. So we're going to take just a minute and talk about them as one of our sponsors. Stand by. It's now time for the Sponsor Spotlight, talking about all the products, services, events, and businesses that we use and love. Here we go. Now, we all three of us use Midland Radios in our vehicles. I have the 400. Tony, what do you have in yours? You have the 400?
Yeah.
Porker, what do you have in yours?
I got the Micro 275.
275. The MXT 275.
Yep. I got so many radios in there, it's hard to keep track.
I know, and I knew when I asked you that it was going to be like, which one?
I almost said Icon, but it was an honest accident.
Porker's dash looks like the cockpit of an airplane with all the radios and the screens and everything.
757, and it's gotten worse.
Yeah, it got worse over the weekend.
But the weight of that took the vibration out.
Oh, good.
I don't have the wobble anymore.
Good.
Awesome.
Well, we were able to communicate pretty much all week, and everybody that was there that had handheld radios at the MOORE Expo used the Midland Radios, and that's pretty much all I've ever had in my vehicle. Tony and I use the MXT 400, which is the base unit that's got 40 watts of power. I love the MXT 275 that Porker has because all the controls are on the head unit. So you can mount the main unit under the seat and not have to worry about mounting it in a special place or anything like that. That's what we're planning on putting in Connie's vehicle. Easy mounting solutions.
Yeah.
And Midland has just about every option that you could possibly have.
They got a ton of options.
That's the one that Miss Bats Off-Road runs, the 275.
Miss Bats Off-Road has a Midland as well.
Yes.
And
So
I'm hoping to get Sasha talked into it, and she's going to get one of those as well. I'm sure she'll chime in here any second about it.
Well, as much as she likes to talk, you've got to give her more avenues whereby she can communicate. So that would be great. She would love that. And while we're talking about the Midland Radios, we want to give a shameless plug to a giveaway that we're having right now. We just announced it on our Instagram at the Overland Philosopher and Bats Off-Road. We have a Midland Micro Mobile GMRS 2-watt, two-way radio, 15 watts of powerful communication. We're giving this away. We just announced it today on our Instagram. So you can go to either overlandphilosopher.com or Bats Off-Road and sign up to win this nice Midland radio, and I will send it to you if you win. So you got to go there and win. So hopefully you'll do that. Very easy to enter. And Aaron, you can join the Midland team just like we're on the Midland team if you win. So that's pretty much amazing. I'm excited to give that away because communication is something that everybody needs. You need a way to communicate. So that will get you in the game and make sure that you can communicate if you need help or if you need to know where to go or if you just need to say, hey, what's up? So
it was cool when we were rolling into town Thursday morning and I got on the radio. I was still several miles away and I started talking to see, how close I'd have to be before you guys could hear me, and Porker heard me right away.
Yeah.
So it was cool, to kind of find out, exactly where he was before we got there. So
yeah, that's cool. American Frontier Overland uses the MXT 275, and you're right, Porker. She did chime in. She couldn't help it. All I will say about the radios is the pork taco is that they make me feel like Connie prior to the Autotronics overhaul on Little Girl. No room. Well, you have a Forerunner. You got your own rig. So that way you don't have to ride in the pork taco. That's a good thing about husbands and wives having their own rigs. Misty and Joe from the Day We Make, they have their own rigs. Tony and Arla, they have their own rigs. Joey and Connie have their own rigs. Pork and Sasha have their own rigs. So we're all good.
There you go.
She had to ride with me today because she missed me because I was gone so long.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
And I offered to take the Giotto desk out that has the iPad and whatnot mounted on it, but she graciously let me leave it in there because I'm still not recovered sleep-wise. So she is a little crowded.
Yeah. Well, I know it was it's just one of those things. You have all this gear, you just have to deal with it. And I had the same type of setup when I first built my FJ. I had a big old stand of radio stacked upon radio, and my wife, as awesome as she is, rode all the way back 25 hours from Colorado, all the way there, all week, all the way back, never griped a word. Now that it's gone, she'll say, "You remember when I was in here and I didn't have no room and I didn't say a word about it the whole time?" Yeah, she'll remind me about that now. She didn't say anything about it then. Women have memories like elephants. They don't forget nothing.
Yes.
They don't forget nothing.
And they can recall it at the snap of a finger.
Yeah. Well, when you upset them, first they get hysterical and then they get historical. So that's the way that works. Just always remember that. Always remember that.
That's a good point.
And Sasha says, despite how we act most of the time, I actually like being with him, so I like riding with him. Well, there we have it, folks. We have it black and white. Evidence for court one day, probably.
There you go.
So here we go. Porker also won some sleeping bags from Artemis.
Yes. The Artemis after party Saturday night.
And let me tell you, he says that he has the worst luck of anybody in this world. But on this trip, not only did he win the sleeping bags, But Tony, on the way back one night, stopped and got a small little, what were those, Tony? Scratch-off cards?
Yeah. Yeah, for everybody
he
in
handed
the
one out to
Airbnb.
everybody in the house. And who was the only one that won? Yeah.
That dude right there.
Parker was the only one that won. So he talks about how bad his luck is, but yet he is a winner.
Life was changed forever.
He may have been drying off with a hand towel, but he won sleeping bags and scratch offs. So
oh my goodness, that is awesome. Well, let's get into a little bit more about MOORE Expo. We're going to talk about our favorite booths. We're going to talk about the layout, the classes, all that stuff. But let's take just a minute and take a break. We'll be right back. You're watching BROfessor.
Hi, this is Jerry from Temple Tusk.
This is Aaron with Artemis Overland Hardware.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Kara from Ozark Overland Adventures.
I'm Adam with Oki Overland.
I'm Tate with Overland Spices.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Drew with Rock Squash Designs. Here with the Rock Squash.
This is Jeff with Bad Academic Cup.
Hi, I'm Julie, the Overlander next door.
And I'm Phil from Down to Mob.
And you're watching.
BROfessor.
Bats.
Bats.
Bats, crazy.
BROfessor Bats and Friends.
Professor Bats and Friends.
BROfessor Bats and Friends.
No, BROfessor Bats and Friends.
BROfessor Bats and Friends.
Sponsored by Artemis Overland Hardware in Springfield, Missouri. MOORE Expo. Tackform Mounts. Trail Rated Coffee. Linson Solar. Howling Moon Tents and Awnings. Big Iron Overland Rally, June 10th through the 12th in West Mineral, Kansas. Mountain Hatch. Lifesaver Water Filters. MC Ranch Overland. Snowmaster Fridges. EcoFlow. Timbo Tusk. Dow Dynamics Lighting. And our good friends at Midland Radio. Thank you for joining our show. We have a great guest coming on. No pros, just bros on this show. Thank you for being here. Here we go. So I appreciate everybody who joined in on that, and I appreciate Tony for going around and getting those. It was a treat.
That was so much fun.
You actually got so many.
Great job.
Yeah.
You got so many that I couldn't even fit them all in there. So we're gonna have to rotate them out, to give everybody a chance to be famous.
Yeah, I wish I'd gotten more. We went around Sunday doing that, and it was just because it was kind of at the end of the show, and it was just enough time to do that. But yeah, it was cool.
I'm just glad you didn't tear the GoPro up too bad to get the hard work that you put into it off of it.
I know. I was worried about that the whole way home, whether or not the card was damaged.
SD card, yeah.
Well, now, Tony, do you want to give a plug for GoPro? I know you were talking high on them today.
Yeah. So we have these GoPro Subscription. It's what I got whenever I bought the GoPro Hero 10, and it gets you discounts and things like that on the accessories. But what it also does, for those that may not know, is it allows you to, if you've got a camera that's got a problem with it, you can send it in, and they'll have and it's kind of like a deductible. Mm-hmm. Based on the model of camera. That deductible is a little bit different. For the one that I have, it's $99. However, they had pity on me, and they opted to cover that.
Wow.
Because I ran it over.
They're like, this guy's so dumb. He sets his GoPro down. He sets it down on his 37-inch tire.
Yeah. And
we need to help this guy out.
This is the only thing that survived.
Oh, the little micro SD card. And we are so excited that lived, because we had some gold on there.
Yeah.
And I was worried all the way home. I really was.
I was too.
I think before I got home, you told me that they were all there and they were working, and you were uploading them to a drive, and I was so excited.
Yeah. So if you look in the end of the GoPro where you take the battery out, the SD card slides right in next to it. Well, instead of it being a rectangle, it was kind of like this.
An obtuse.
It was not square in any way. And so I had to kind of pry the SD card a little bit, pry it to get it out of there. So
Wow.
that was
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Lord, for making sure that stayed good,
Very-
because you had worked really hard on getting those videos, and
Yeah.
I was really excited to see them, because I saw you do a few of them, and I was really excited to see them.
to see the results. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael's right. That was luck that the card still works.
For sure. Well, Porker, what was your favorite part about the show? What was your favorite part that you will remember the most?
Man, it's really hard to answer this because there was so much. I learned a lot. I've learned a lot over the past year, but that the lessons I took from people, from looking at their rigs and what have you out there, but meeting the folks that I've spent countless hours watching their videos and liking them, and watching their commercials to help their monetization value, to meet those people, to talk to them, to get invited to their house and hang out with them, eat dinner with them. I don't know that any other experience that I personally had could top that. Now, it was an honor to be in the Rhino Rack booth, but that was more business than personal. The personal part was meeting all these people.
Yeah.
And those memories that I made in that, I was gone a week. Other than the trip out there, everything else was phenomenal. I'll never forget it.
Tony, what was your biggest takeaway?
Well, I mean, you both really hit the nail on the head, so to speak. I mean, it was the people. Obviously we're very into, this community and the products and the events and stuff, but just being with, the people that enjoy the same things, going to these events, the people that put on this event, Chris and his staff, and just meeting new friends, catching up with new friends, the after party, just the memories, the experience, I'll cherish, for forever. So
Same here.
I've worked a lot in the last couple of months getting everything ready, and now I'm ready to get out and
put it to use. Put it to use.
Yeah, need to share the campfire with these people.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm the same way. Just meeting the people that you've talked to, messaged, that I've interviewed. You cannot replace a face-to-face.
Yeah.
It just means more than anything. Or when Julie handed me her sticker, when I got a hat from Bill and Deb, it's just one of those things where you'll never forget that. It's just, and it's cool. And Michael says, I'm excited to see everyone who enters video perspectives in the giveaway. Chris is offering $500 to the best videos. So they're really going to up their game on the videos that they did this past week. And we saw, fries on the side out there every day shooting video. Matt and Kara were shooting tons of video. I know they were just out there really stepping their game up to really not only promote themselves and get views for themselves, but to help Chris out and to help MOORE Expo out, because that's the way that they think. If we do a good video, people will watch it and they'll be drawn to MOORE Expo, and I love that about them. It's not about the $500. It's not about getting so many views. That means a lot, yes, but helping others out, I think, is the heart of where they come from. Now, we're going to talk about booths for a minute. I was able to get away for just a few minutes and see the different booths around there, and I'll have you both thinking about what your favorite booth was. Really enjoyed visiting with Jerry from Timbo Tusk. I really enjoyed the Rock Squatch guys. They're always fun to hang out with. I love seeing all the new trailer builds. But I've really got to give props to Ryan at CB Adventure Supply. There was one thing that I was interested in, and he took time out and it wasn't just because it was me. He did this with everybody. He would take time out, and he would go and he would explain to you how it works, show you all the features, and took however long it took to make sure that you understood the product and were able to see whether it was right for you or not. He wasn't pressing the product on you, but if it was right for you, he wanted you to understand, and he did that for me. And I actually made a purchase from him because he showed me even more than what I thought it would do. And I'm so excited to get the new Garmin Overlander. It's so cool. That is so cool. I'm so excited. So anyway, it hasn't come in yet, so I don't have my hands on it. I actually let somebody else have the one he had. So anyway, got to give some props to him. Loved his booth. He had some amazingly cool people there.
Yeah,
we were able to have dinner with one night. I can't remember their names for the life of me. Do you remember them, Tony?
Oh gosh, I was sitting here afraid.
I believe they had a Chevy Colorado with an Aggie cab on it.
Yeah,
super cool people, and really
and they had
cool
the Jeep Renegade.
And they had the Jeep Renegade that was rhino lined. So it was really cool people. I know I followed them on Instagram. I can't remember their name right off the top of my head.
Yeah, dadgummit. I
planned to
remember
that.
Yeah.
We'll get back with you on that. Tony,
Yes.
what was your favorite booth?
So, one of the things that you go through on your builds, you get through different aspects. Wheels and tires, suspension, racks, things like that, and where we're at with basically all three. The Gladiator, the JK, and the trailer is lighting. So my favorite booth,
Dow Dynamics.
So I got to go out there, and when you look at Dow Dynamics and you go to their website and looking at their products, they have different stages of lights. You got the sports and the pros, the combo beam pattern or the flood or the spots. Well, their trailer, they had like a semi-trailer set up out there, and they had all of the lights that I was interested in, both sport and pro, in the various sizes, and they could turn them on and let me see what they would do. And they gave me advice on what to use, like on the side of the rack, for camp lights, things like that. So, yeah, like you said, there were so many great booths, so many that I didn't get a chance to go around and see. But for me, I really enjoyed the Dow Dynamics.
Awesome. Pork, what was your favorite booth?
I mean, there was a bunch, but I'm going to have to go with CB, Adventures as well. They had a lot of product there, a lot of things to look at, and I really enjoyed walking through there. Had a lot of product that interests me because some of it was Tacoma, related, but they were by far my favorite.
And plus, Justin with 23-0 was there, so
that was an added bonus.
He is always a trip. I mean, the very first year he was in the Artemis booth, and we got to hang out with him for 2 solid days, and he is so knowledgeable on all the tents and the different things that that he sells. But I mean, just a hoot to be around. You got to hold the ears of your kids if you got them around, but he is a hoot to be around. They said MB Quartz had a great, awesome booth if you like audio. I walked by Michael. There. It was very neat. They were outside. They had a great deal going on. I think that was kind of tempting for you, wasn't it, Tony?
Yeah, it was. I actually went out there and I looked at my buddy Michael, and I went out there and we looked. They were selling, do-it-yourself kits to upgrade the Gladiator and the JK. I think, Michael and his brother each bought one of those kits. Wow. So he had his Jeep Gladiator tore apart as soon as he got home, putting that stuff in. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, what did y'all think about the layout? With everything being outside and the storytellers, and I think he had a big area in the center for CBI. Red Arc was in the back, and then I had an East Wing and the West Wing. How did y'all feel about the layout?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. I enjoyed, everything really kind of seemed like it flowed very well. The storyteller seemed like it was kind of almost in the middle, between the outside vendors and the entrance to the two wings. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was good.
Having nothing to compare to, it did flow really well, like Tony said. You didn't have, even though you had groups of people standing and talking, you still had room to get around them, and it wasn't a lot of, feet to feet walking. It was laid out really well from the experience that I had.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was really cool that from where attendees parked, they had to walk past all of the storytellers. So I've been seeing tons of photos of the storytellers on people's Instagram pages, because it was almost like you were forced to go by there and visit with them. And I think that was a great idea for Chris to put them there. Yeah. That way you actually had to go by there and see all these people that had the built rigs, that have lived this lifestyle. You could talk to them, learn from them, and see what they were doing. A lot of people got pictures made with them. It was just I think that was a cool idea. Yeah. There were so many things that I did not get to see. I did not get to go in the back where the Red Arc booth was. I didn't get to see the Quiet Cat bike course. I saw people riding them all week, but I didn't get to see the course.
I didn't see that either.
So I really don't know how that went. Now, those bikes are amazingly cool. I love the fat tire electric bikes. I think they're a great idea, and of course they make some of the best that you can buy. So I think that was I can't talk whether that was a good addition to it or not, because I didn't get to see it. But also I didn't get to attend any of the classes.
Me either.
Me either.
They had so many classes, from ham radio to Gaia GPS to, they had a chef there that was teaching about cooking and actually cook some meals, and you could take them with you. I mean, they had so many things that you could learn. Aaron with Switchback Outdoor Safety did an excellent job of making sure that they were announced over the loudspeaker when they were starting. I think Matt with Ozark Overland Adventures actually had to do a second class for his Gaia class, because there were so many that wanted to attend. So Aaron with Switchback Outdoor Safety did an amazing job of organizing that and putting that together and taking care of that.
So didn't Brad do a class on lithium batteries? Did I read that right?
There was a class on lithium batteries.
Was it Brad, or did I mistake that?
Brad
Brazel? Seems like I may
it may have been him. Yes. Yeah, it was him.
So that was one thing that I was like, man, because that's another area that's fresh on my mind with our trailer, is the lithium and solar setup. So that was one thing that I was kind of hoping to get to see.
Yeah, you and I both have just entered into the lithium world, and I've had some experiences already that I've had to contact Brad and ask him, some questions that I didn't actually have a clue, because I've never had a battery that you could actually take down to zero, where you would have to, restart it. And it was, I would have really liked to have gone to that class. I think that would have been.
Travis says he did a Red Arc class, and that it was before the first aid class on Friday.
Okay.
So,
well, Brad Brazel will be on the show in a couple of weeks. He has started a new business of his own where he guides people, Mississippi, Kentucky, and different places like that. So it's a pretty cool thing, and we want to support him. He's always been supportive of us, especially when they were with Natural State Overland. So he's going to be on the show and coming up pretty soon. So I think that we all had a great experience when it comes to MOORE. Like I said, we all had we came from it at different angles. But, when it was all said and done, it was a great experience for us, no matter how we came, whether we came as a spectator or a vendor or anything like that. Now, at the end of the show, here's my story. At the end of the show, we go and Porker had 1,000 miles to go on an 800-mile trip. So he got out of there pretty quick. And here we go. Before I do this, Travis said, "What was your best purchase?" Mine was a Swift 22 tool roll.
I agree, Travis. That one's a pretty cool purchase.
Yeah. So, Porker, what was your best purchase?
I got a light from Devo that you're always searching for better lighting, whether you're cooking, sitting around, whatever. But this light, on the way there on my 17-hour journey, I kept checking my feed, and this light kept coming up. Never heard of it before, and lo and behold, get there, and they're one of the vendors. So I go by and I watch the video, and the light is so impressive. Comes on a telescoping mast, 9 foot, does 1,200 lumens. It's in a kind of like an octagon shape, and you can have all of them lit up or turn it down to a single panel. 3 modes of lighting, high, medium, and low. And that was probably one of the coolest lights that I'd seen. And, when it's up 9 feet, obviously it's going to illuminate, the area pretty well, because the way it's designed, the light goes towards the ground. So that's probably my best purchase was that.
Tony, did you buy anything?
Well, I mean, aside from the propane tank mount from Jeff at Bad Ack Adventure Co. and then the iCamper Mini 3.0 from Artemis, I'd say my favorite one was that little that drink that we had that had the rum in it. That one right there was probably my favorite.
Oh my goodness!
What a purchase! So yeah,
the $7 purchase made the show.
Yeah, and see, I was afoot all weekend, so I didn't have to worry about all that. So yeah.
Oh my goodness! Well, right off the bat, I get there and Jeff with Bad Ack Adventure Co. meets me out there, and I had talked to him about a month ago and told him, I said, man, I've got a little 5-pound tank that's on the back of my FJ. We're going to be gone for about 3.5 weeks in June. I've got an 11-pound that I don't have a mount for. And he said, I've been wanting to do one of those. I've been wanting to market one of those. So let me get with my fabricator and see if I can get one. So right off the bat, he comes out here with this beautiful 11-pound tank mount, and he and his guy go out there, and let me tell you, it was so freaking cold, and the wind was blowing 70 miles an hour, and yet they're out there installing this on my FJ, and I can't tell them thank you enough, because it was, and he said, we brought all these tools just for you because we knew we'd be doing this. And so they were out there installing that, and I absolutely love it. Yeah. I had taken my tank before we went out there, and I painted it black because my whole vehicle is gray and black, and I am not putting a white propane tank on my gray and black vehicle. I ain't doing it. So I painted it black.
That's why I have Snazberry paint. I'm painting my tank too. I was
completely out of Snazberry paint. I didn't have any more left. I'd used it all for my daughter's bedroom. Yeah. And so it was just one of those things where Jeff just made my day right off the bat because it looks so good. Oh my goodness.
There we go.
This is going to make the show. Aaron, best purchase. Don't bro me unless you know me shirt. Love supporting Long Creek Overland and creators. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And if you want any of my BROfessor stuff, you can go to Long Creek and get you a "Don't Bro Me Unless You Know Me" shirt, because that's exactly what I mean. So anyway, that was awesome. And my wife, as she loves me as much as she does, she got me the new Garmin Overlander, and I am so pumped to get that in from CB Adventure Supply. He showed me some things that just blew my mind. Totally blew my mind. If you can take a step-by-step navigation, Bluetooth it to your phone, and it overlays weather on top of it, my mind was blown. It was blown. Yeah. I could not believe it. Couldn't believe it. And I had to see it for myself, and he showed me how it worked on his, and it sold me. Then I had to convince my wife that I needed it, and she went in there and she's like, okay, let's get it.
I should probably Yeah, I should probably clarify. I didn't actually purchase the iCamper Mini. That my wife bought me.
Oh, well,
She bought that.
we all
Yeah.
have those amazing wives who
Yeah.
make sure we have everything that we want and need.
That's right.
I know Porker feels the same way. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, hon. Appreciate that.
Yes.
yeah, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see the iCamper on the Gladiator. I think it's going to look amazing. I think you're going to love the ease of setup because I have one. I've used one for years, and it is one of the easiest tents to set up. I actually came away with a 23-0 Kabari, which is like the Alu cab that pops straight up. So that was also another one of our purchases that we made there. And then when we went to mount it at the end of the day, it did not want to cooperate.
No, it just went to heck real quick.
Didn't want to cooperate at all. It was longer than my rack. The bolts wouldn't line up. They weren't long enough. Tony actually stayed around. Joe and Misty stayed around. Cotty Wample stayed around for a little bit, and then they had to go. But Joe and Tony stayed around to make sure that I made it out of there. I was at least able to make it home with the thing.
Yeah.
Now, Tony volunteered to go to Lowe's, get some longer bolts. They didn't have any. He went all the way to Artemis, and he and Aaron searched for bolts, and he thought he found some mounts. He came back with some mounts. And then all of a sudden he was like, well, I've got these Rhino rack.
I've got the brackets you need.
Brackets that will mount to a platform. And I said, bring them on. So let me tell you, it looks hideous right now. It looks hideous because there's about a 3-inch gap between my platform and the bottom of the tent. And on the way home, there was a crosswind of about 40 miles an hour, and that thing was like a parachute. I thought I was going to come up completely off the ground about 4 times.
Was you driving crooked?
And I was driving, trying to keep it on the road, It was absolutely awful. But you know what? I made it home safe. We all made it home safe. And so I'm going to spend the rest of this week and Saturday and part of Easter Sunday probably trying to get this tent mounted the way that I want it, because if it don't look good, I ain't having it.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited about this tent. I'd never seen one before in person, and it's going to be so easy to set up, so easy to take down, and it's going to make our trip that we're taking in June that much more enjoyable, because if we move every day, you really need something that's easy, especially if you're old, like I am.
Yeah.
Me and Porker are old.
Yeah.
Tony's the baby of this bunch.
Hence the why Porker's getting a new iCamper Mini 3.0.
What I'm talking about. World premiere.
Knuckles.
World premiere. On every show, we have a world premiere. Porker's getting an iCamper.
I'm just holding out hopes that it comes in 2 weeks. Before
that one's gone.
I just have to say this. 2 out of 3 of us in the last 3 weeks have been in the hospital.
Yeah.
And so we really need to take care of ourselves, and whatever makes our life easiest, that's what we got to have, because that's not a place you want to be.
Yeah.
And so I am the only one that has not been in the hospital because of my superior condition, and I want to keep it that way. So I had to come home with this Kabari, and I'm really excited that this is going to make a huge difference in my setup, because I was not happy with the one that I had. Travis said, I wish I could upgrade my tent before my June tramp. I want the OVS one Bill has on his Gladiator. That's a good one. That's a lot like, isn't that a clamshell? A lot like the.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it's very similar to yours, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That one is a good one. I love the style. If it's something like the iCamper or something like the Alu cab, I'm a huge fan, because those are real easy to set up and take down. And if you're going to be moving around every day, you don't want to be the guy. You don't want to be that guy. Everybody's ready to go, and you're still packing up, still trying to get your tent done, having to ask for help, doing whatever. So it's really going to make a huge difference, and I think it's going to be amazing.
Right.
Woo! Man, MOORE
What a
Expo
show.
was amazing.
Yeah.
MOORE Expo was amazing. I can't believe that it's actually here and gone already. And, you know, it seemed like when it was in April, it wasn't ever going to get here. And now it's already come and gone. And now, you know.
Now it's like, now what?
Now what? Well,
now what?
We got about
in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, we have the Bonfire Rendezvous. Talked with Randy and Rick at Natural State Overland, who you're sporting their shirt and supporting them because they always support us.
Yep.
The Bonfire Rendezvous is going to be where, Tony?
Mulberry Mountain Lodge Resort. Mulberry Mountain. I just call it Mulberry Mountain. I can't remember if it's a lodge or resort, but
yeah. Mulberry Mountain. It's
just
going to be Friday night and Saturday night. It's kind of just a place where you just go and you hang out. You can go do some trails if you want to. You can hang out. You can cook. You can just sit around, talk to people. They have a big bonfire one of the nights. They give away all kinds of different things while they're there, but it's mostly just an unorganized event where people just gather.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way they like it. So it's a pretty cool time. I hope if you are anywhere near the central or west central Arkansas, you put that on your calendar and come out and support them. I know they told me that they had quite a few people that were coming in for that, so that ought to be pretty fun.
Yeah.
So put that on your calendar, and then we have Big Iron Overland Rally that's happening the second week of June 10th through the 12th in West Mineral, Kansas. If you need tickets to that, get them while they're hot because that's going to sell out. And that'll be a time where you actually go and see why they name it Big Iron, because that thing is massive. Rendezvous in the Ozarks will be in October. And somewhere between here and there, I'm going to be in a place where very few people will be able to find me because that's where I'm happy.
Yes.
And, you know, MOORE Expo was one of those things where it's not my cup of tea. If I was planning a vacation, going to where everyone else is going to be is not usually a vacation that I plan. But this is one of those things where you make exception because you get to meet new people.
Yep.
Friends that last a lifetime. You get to see people and meet them in person that you only see on TV. And you get to see all the new and exciting gear that's out there. So it ends up being something that you actually want to make sure that you go to every year.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I think it was a good time. I think everybody that went believes that they had a good time and they came out of there wanting more. And, you know, I've been seeing posts about it every day, multiple times a day. And I think we will continue to see that for a while now.
Yep.
So, guys, good show. I enjoyed recapping our weekend together. I miss you guys already.
Thanks for having me on board tonight.
Thanks for coming on, buddy.
I appreciate. See, there's Rick. Rick's coming in late. Enjoyed seeing you last weekend, Rick. We just talked about the bonfire. We told everybody about it. It's coming, not this coming weekend because that's Easter, and we do not want to upset the God in heaven by having the bonfire on the Easter weekend. So it's after Easter weekend.
Yeah.
And it will be at Mulberry Mountain. We want to make sure that you put that on your calendar Friday, Saturday, leave Sunday, or you can stay however long as you want. I don't care. It's not up to me. It's not my place.
I think they're actually, I think the bonfire is actually just the one night, but I think we're going to go for 2 nights.
2 nights? I think we're going to try to go for 2 nights.
I need some campfire time.
What night is the bonfire on? Is Saturday night?
I believe it is Saturday night.
Saturday night is the actual fire.
I think so.
So,
Rick,
you know, I think last year we camped on Friday night and it rained about 19 inches that night. And then we had the bonfire the next night. It was a beautiful night. Beautiful night. So I love Rick. Yep, he says it's Saturday night and we will be there. Would not miss it for the world. So we're going to be there. Probably roll in on Friday, stay till Sunday if we possibly can. So we'll have to look at the calendar and see about that. But that is something that we always do. Have not missed one. We're going to fire it up on Saturday night. That's right, Rick.
That might be our first trip out in our trailer. Like actual trip. So
trip out in the trailer.
Yeah. So
I love it. We may pull the trailer up, but I may stay in the FJ because that'd be my first night in the FJ.
Yeah.
But you know, I've got the biggest awning in the world on the trailer, so in case the weather gets bad, I got a big place to go.
You could put your FJ under your awning.
Yes, that thing is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
I can tell you this: I'm gonna have my Timbo Tusk out there cooking. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have my trail rated coffee out there in the mornings, and I'm gonna be having a good time with Natural State Overland because them boys and our original fire reflector.
And I'm going to be having the fire flicker. So.
You know, that's one thing about the events that Natural State put on. You can actually have a fire, and I love it.
Yeah,
absolutely love it. So put that on your his awning is known as the party tent. Yeah.
Yes.
You do not need tickets to the bonfire. No, it is a free event. You do not have to come out, Michael Crowder. Thanks for asking that. You do not have to have tickets. You just show up and pick your camp spot. I do believe that you have to pay a little bit for camping.
Yeah.
But you do not have to. It's just a gift back to the community from Natural State. So they just love getting together with everybody. So it's just a time where they just like to put on. They'll have the wood out there. They'll have the fire. They'll do some giveaways. And Rick will talk. You know, Rick likes to talk. So he'll get out there and he'll probably have some tickets. So when somebody doesn't say their number, what do they say, Tony?
They say, burn it.
Burn it.
Burn it.
Burn it. What everybody says. So he'll burn it. Yeah, I know, Rick. There just might be some giveaways. So anyway, thank you all for joining us tonight. We appreciate you being on the show with us. Tony, as always, thank you for coming on with me. Porter, all the way out in West Virginia, thank you for being here. I appreciate you coming on with us as we recap MOORE Expo. MOORE Expo 23 will be next year. Who knows what it will bring? We have no idea. Chris has probably got something in his mind.
He does.
I imagine he's still asleep.
He does.
Sunday.
He's already got.
He's resting. He'll recuperate, and we'll put it together. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you live the best life that you could possibly have. And when you go through this week and you deal with the people that are out there, maybe the turds, maybe some kids, I don't know what you deal with. But as you do, look out for number 1 and don't step in number 2. Have a great week.
BROfessor and friends, 2022. Woo woo.
Thank you for watching.
Professor Bats and Friends.
BROfessor, Bats and Friends.
BROfessor Bats and Friends.
Enjoy the BROfessor and Bats and Friends.
BROfessor Bats and